Okay, good evening, dear participants, our speakers, and Dr. Sarunraj, Director, Agriculture Extension Manage. So we have been, today is the third day of the Manage program on research priorities in agriculture extension. For the first 2 days, we dealt on a global level, which the first day covered the global research priorities. The second day covered the national priorities. And the theme for the third day, which is today, is cultivating change, state level research priorities in agriculture extension. We have seen that the shifting emphasis of Indian agriculture towards diversification, commercialization, sustainability, and efficiency has made it necessary for the state extension organizations to critically examine their research priority and approaches. And today we have with us two esteemed speakers who will be dealing with this topic. So first we'll have Dr. Sriram Vishnumurthy sir, who is an assistant professor at Kerala Agriculture University in Kerala. And secondly, we will for the second half of the webinar, we will have Dr. Pankaj Kumar Sinha sir, who is the scientist agriculture extension for ICR, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, Ranchi, Jharkhand. To introduce our first speaker for the day, Dr. Sriram Vishnumurthy is currently serving as social scientist and is a certified trainer in the Ministry of Food Processing Industry. His journey in the field of agriculture began with a deep commitment to improving the lives of farmers and fostering innovation in this critical sector. Dr. Vishnumurthy's passion for research and policy led him to work as a research officer at the Center for Research on Innovation and Science for 10 months. In this role, he actively contributed to shaping policies that promote innovation and science's various sectors. One of his outstanding qualities is commitment to education and mentorship. As a blogger and student mentor in the Young Innovators program, Dr. Vishnumurthy has nurtured the next generation of innovators, guiding them in their pursuit of knowledge and creative thinking. Moreover, Dr. Shyam Vishnumurthy is a data science enthusiast, reflecting his forward-thinking approach to harnessing data for the betterment of society. His ability to bridge the gap between data and decision making is a testament to his versatility and dedication towards solving complex problems. With this brief introduction, I'd like to hand over the session to sir. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Anand, thank you so much for the brief introduction. In fact, I think all the information you have got from my LinkedIn profile. And now today, that is the advantage that we don't have to send our CV to anyone because all the information about any scientist is available in the public domain. If you are checking at the LinkedIn or any other social media platforms. So let me, without wasting the time, let me start the screen, share the screen. Hope I am visible now. My screen is visible now.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So after 2 days of a webinar series on cultivating change, the research priorities in agricultural extension, on the first day we have a great discussion about the research priorities at the global level with regard to agricultural extension. Then on the yesterday it was about the national level research priorities. And today we are going to deal with the state level. So what we are coming to a micro level with regard to our research priorities in the agricultural extension. So before going to the topic, let me just go through what are the present level of what is the state level research extension research landscape at present. So we know that if you are looking at the landscape, we can see that who are the research implementers, the areas of research as well as the research orientation. So mainly the research implementers are including the state agricultural universities, KVKs, some NGOs are there in different states, development departments. They are doing mainly the state level research, extension research activities. Coming to the areas of research, if you are if we are going through some of the publications in the agricultural extension research, we can see that mostly it is they are on the area of perception and attitude of farmers and other stakeholders towards any agricultural phenomena. Then knowledge and adoption studies, adoption of certain technologies, and training needs and training effectiveness and constraints in the training needs with regard to training. Then technology adoption with regard to specific crops, and impact assessment of schemes and programs which are initiated at the state level. Then coming to the research orientation, we can see that mostly the research in extension is primary data driven, and it is very, I'm particularly speaking about the state level extension research. Secondary data, we have few studies, and it is more about cross-sectional studies than temporal studies, and more quantitative than qualitative in nature. and mostly agriculture focused rather than allied sector focused, then research of PG, PhD scholars and SAUs, and some KVK KVK driven studies are also there. So this is the present level extension research landscape at the state level. Let me go to a short story before venturing into my topic. So this diagram, we can see that this is a picture of a aeroplane, a warplane. So during the Second World War, the American engineers, they were discussing about how they can improve the resilience of their warplanes. So they were thinking about, okay, so in this image, you can see that there are some red dots. So these dots represent the areas in which it is hit by the enemy fire. Okay, so they were discussing about how we can improve the resilience. So the argument was like, these are the areas in which it is hit. So we have to strengthen these areas so that we can, so because these are the easy targets for the enemy guns. So these are the areas in which we have to reinforce, or we have to make more, we have to make it more strong so that it won't be hit or it will survive more. But then came a statistician called Abraham Wald. He is from Columbia University. So he just told that he had an entirely different opinion. So what he told was that this is about the planes which are survived. But what about the planes which are shot down there, which are not returned so far? So his argument was that uh, those planes which are shot down, it might have hit in those areas which are not marked in this picture. Okay, so we have to strengthen actually the areas which are not marked here. So those are the specific areas, or those are the weak areas where the enemies are targeting and hitting, so that the plane is getting crashed. So see, the perspectives are entirely different. So this is why I drew this example here, because this is the same case we can also compare with the status of the extension research, because most of the researchers are trying to focus on some of the specific areas, and we are not looking in that effort. We are somehow we are avoiding, or purposively or not, we are avoiding some of the important areas which should have been actually looked into. So in this story, actually at the end, it was proved that what the argument put forward by Abraham Wald was correct, because if you are strengthening the areas which are not having the red dots here, you can improve the resilience of your warplanes. So in the same line, my argument is that rather than hitting on the same target or the same areas, we have to look into different areas where the extension research can be carried out. So here I have identified a few areas. So those areas, I felt that from my readings and my experience, so I felt that these are the areas in which, particularly for the PG and PhD scholars, these are the areas in which there is a lot of research opportunities are still emerging or still existing. So the first area I identified was the extension service delivery. So here, with regard to the extension service delivery, we know that in each state, the service providers are different. Let it be state departments, state agriculture universities, KVK, Atma. There are many kind of service providers are there. Even nowadays, the private sector is emerging as a service provider, and the farmer producer companies or farmer organizations, they are also largely they are becoming a major player in the extension service. So here we have a lot of research opportunities with regard to what are the different service provision models, what are the different institutions which are providing the extension service, and the pluralistic approaches followed by them. And sometimes the extension reforms may be there, which are implemented at the state level rather than at the national level. State level extension reforms might have started. So what are the implications of that? And impact and outcome mapping of certain interventions which are initiated at the state level, and what are the delivery mechanisms. So suppose when I am talking about Kerala, because I am talking about Kerala because I am more familiar, I am working here and I am more familiar with the extension system here. So if you are looking at the delivery mechanisms in Kerala, suppose for an example, in 2020, our universities, Kerala Agriculture University, started a new initiative called BLAKC, block level knowledge, agricultural knowledge centers. So actually what these agricultural knowledge centers are doing, they are actually acting as a direct linkage between the Department of Agriculture and university. So actually, the department felt that they are not getting enough technical inputs from the State Agriculture University in their project planning and implementation. So in order to help them with regard to their project planning and implementation, and in order to sensitize them about the recent technological advances developed by the university, the block level agriculture knowledge centers are started. So likewise, in many states, they might have initiated their own extension reforms or different institutional approaches. So that is a major area. So area of research that we can taken up. Then the service area and beneficiary mapping. So what are the services provided by the public sector institutions, the private sector institutions? Of course, we know that the private sector service delivery will be more different because they are more interested in farm consultancy or more paid service where the quality of service is mattering more. And what is driving the service, whether it is a supply led or demand led service? Again, this is an important concern. And the linkages. So, since the last 2 days, we were talking a lot about the agricultural innovation system concept. So, the concept embraces all the stakeholders who are involved in developing a particular social good or developing a particular product. So, how they are linked together and how these alliances are uh, uh, they are making possible certain social outcomes. So these kind of studies are of more importance. And even if we are looking at the journals in agricultural extension, these kind of research articles can be seen. So these are some of the examples we can give, which are acting as the platforms through which the services are delivered. Contact farmer, farmer friend, Kisan Mitra, in different states we call in different names, or ICT mediated extension delivery. Farmer groups are there. Institutional mechanisms of KVK, Atma, ATICS, and SAUs. There are different avenues are there through which they are providing the service. Suppose farmer scientist interface, or there are many institutional mechanisms are there. Farmer producer organizations. So these are some of the areas in which we can take up the research. I have listed out some of the studies in this regard, so that all these studies are with regard to the different service providers in extension, and how can we assess the quality of the service. And there are comparative studies whether private and public extension service providers. There are a number of interesting studies are there that you can refer later on. And the second area which I would like to focus is the climate smart extension. So the climate smart extension, though it's coming, it itself is coming as a larger domain in which there are many subdomains are there, like the extension. So suppose if you are speaking about the climate smart extension, primarily we will be concerned about the farmers. So what are the different adaptation and mitigation mechanisms followed by the farmers, and what are the adaptation mechanisms at the farm level or at the community level, and the farmers' social networks and how they are influencing the climate smart adaptation technologies. There are some of the important areas. At the same time, we have to look into the competency of the extension professionals. So we are under the assumption that the extension professionals or agents who are working at the ground level, they are competent enough to train the farmers or impart the knowledge regarding the climate smart extension. So rather than carrying it as an argument, we have to check this argument. So we can go for the capacity gap assessment of the extension professionals. And what are the new roles of EAS service? That means the extension and advisory services. What are the new roles in the context of climate smart extension? So we can see that risk communication is an emerging area. So we are familiar with the other areas of extension. So we say that communication is the heart of extension. So we are usually concerned with persuasive communication or maybe informative communication and all, the roles of communication. But here the role of communication is entirely different. In the context of climate change, how can we, the risk communication, what are the strategies of communicating the climate related hazards or climate related problems to the farming community, as well as building the social capital. So again, that is a major concern, and that's an interesting research area. And the role of EAS, of course, and gender aspects, because the climate change, it is affecting both genders differently. We can say that the impact of climate change, whether it is a socio-economic perspective, whether it is a gender perspective, we can see that it is not affecting all the farmers in a same way. It will be different. So we can see how differently it affects the different stakeholders. With regard to CSA technologies, climate smart technologies, what are the technology dissemination pathways? And vulnerability assessment. A lot of researchers are now doing vulnerability assessment with regard to specific sectors. Suppose coastal area, vulnerability of coastal area with regard to climate change, or vulnerability of a specific sector, suppose horticultural sector or maybe livestock sector, how these vulnerabilities, climate smart extension and how the vulnerabilities are contributing and how the climate smart extension strategies can be delineated. And here also I have found a number of studies, particularly the fourth study we can see, the Borch needs model model analysis of extension agents competence. Here the study is particularly with regard to assessing the competency of the extension personnel who are supposed to support the farming community. There are many other studies, the technology dissemination pathways or the effectiveness of climate smart approaches. Many interesting studies are there. Even IT care related studies are also there, which we can look into. And the third area which I would like to focus is the region specific studies. So each state or each region is typical or each region is different. Suppose take the case of Kerala. So we have 23 agroecological units within the small state of Kerala. We have 23 agroecological units. So for each state, the same case will be there. There may be different agroecological zones or different agroecological units may be there. The classification may be with regard to the cropping system, the topography, or the soil and other edaphic characteristics and or climate and other parameters. So with regard to this, each region, we can have different research studies in extension. So the different cropping systems and the farming system practiced in that particular particular area. Suppose if I am from Wayanad in Kerala, so here it is more about coffee. So with regard to coffee value chain study, such kind of studies we can take up, and farming distress studies. This is another important area because man-animal conflict is now emerging as an important problem in the agricultural sector. So how can we mitigate that problem, man-animal conflict or natural calamity? So this may be specific to particular areas. So what extension can do in such a context, and the policy interventions. So here I would like to draw an example from the zero budget farming in Andhra Pradesh. So it is coming up in a big way. So the zero budget farming, though we know that it was started at a small scale, now it is increasingly being taken up by more number of farmers in the Andhra Pradesh, even outside the state. So what are the implications of such new trends in the farming, and how what are the what changes it are making to the total agricultural sector? And the e-extension initiatives, digital ethnography, again it's an interesting area because agriculture is always related to culture very much. So there are specific rituals, practices, festivals related to the agriculture. So we can, with the use of ICTs, we can do beautiful studies in the case of ethnography. And e-extension initiatives, state specific, agricultural schemes and programs initiated by the state government. So at the state level, it will be wise to do comparison studies. So whether the beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries and pre and post intervention studies are also possible. And another interesting area is the ecosystem of entrepreneurial development. So entrepreneurship development for each state, there will be a specific ecosystem. If in Kerala, if I am speaking about, we have there is a scheme called Kusum. So the Kerala Startup Mission, they are actually heralding all the entrepreneurial activities. Then again, we have some programs initiated by the state government exclusively for the college students. Then we know that there are ICR initiatives are there. So in total, what are the, we can speak more about the agripreneurial ecosystem. So in each state, what are the entrepreneurial ecosystem, how it is acting, who are the stakeholders involved, and how it is helpful in developing or nurturing the entrepreneurs. And agri-tourism is again another area. It can be more specific to a particular sector like dairy farming or crop farming like that, or fisheries like that. It's specific area we can look into. So here also we can see a number of interesting studies in all these areas, all this the region specific studies. Then coming to the resource management and sustainability studies. This is again an emerging area where the extension research is more being demanded. Suppose the ecosystem services. If you are looking into the ecosystem service studies, at presently it is dominated by the agricultural economics researchers, but there are areas in which we can also contribute. Agricultural extension professionals also can contribute. So payment for ecosystem services. We know that there are 4 kinds of services which are offered by the ecosystem. The regulatory services, which are provision of controlling the pollution or maybe the climate, local weather and all. then provisioning services with regard to supply of food and water, and supportive services which are with regard to the nutrient cycles, and cultural services which are more related to spiritual and recreational activities. So how the ecosystem services, and to support these ecosystem services, what extension can do, and what are the roles of extension? This is an interesting area. Then agroecology, again, what is the role of? So minimizing the use of external inputs, how can we make it more natural? So again, the role of extension is more demanded. Agricultural sustainability, I think this area, some of the researchers are already ventured into, like we are familiar with the DFID framework, like there are various dimensions of sustainability, and how can we quantify the sustainability of a particular region or particular sector? This is already being carried out, but again, there is more scope in many areas like coastal agriculture, like that. Then participatory resource governance. So here we can go with resource mapping, or who are the stakeholder mapping. So who are the stakeholders involved in a particular resource management, and the community engagement. How can we engage the community in that resource governance in a better way? And with regard to resource management, we can develop resource management framework from the extension point of view. So there are different social capitals are there, and other parameters like ecological, environmental parameters are there. In this way, we can develop a particular framework for resource management for extension studies. Here also we can have a number of good studies with regard to resource management, particularly with regard to sustainability. Then ecosystem services. There are interesting studies are there. More number of empirical studies are there which use advanced techniques like structural equation modeling. So these studies are available for our reference. And finally, I would like to focus on some of the nascent areas in the agricultural extension research, which are now, I think within last 2-3 years, it is coming into the public domain. So technology mapping studies, digital marketing. So the farmers are now, rather than having the direct interaction or direct transaction, more number of farmer producer companies, I would say, they are taking the possibility of digital marketing. So in that way, how can we support them? So what are the search engine optimization strategies, social media engagements? How can we increase the social media engagement, product promotion, customer segmentation? So these are the areas in which we can do beautiful research and inform the policy making. Consumer studies are there, and IPR and technology patenting, another interesting area. This can be done with regard to the technologies developed by the state agriculture universities. Citizen science, again a beautiful area in which the extension science can venture into. So the citizen science concept is, we can say that it's a crowdsourced science, we can call as another term. So how the public can participate in science, promotion of science or promotion of technologies. So for example, we know bird watching. So to identify new bird species, how the public are involved. The same concept is applied here. So in case of solving any agricultural problems or to disseminate a technology in a better way, how can we engage the public participation? So that is a way in which citizen science can be promoted in the agricultural extension. Then the educational technologies. So there are, we know that the educational technologies are now the ICTs are coming in a big way. Let it be in the case of agricultural education or by the farming community. So we can actually map the digital competency of the students as well as the farmers. So how familiar or how with what easiness they can use the different technologies for their farming operations or maybe for the educational activities. Again, that is an interesting area. And lastly, the skill development. So many state governments are doing skill development activities for different sectors. So we can take up good research in that particular area. Then producer collectives. So of course, there are different forms of producer collectives are there. User associations or maybe grower associations, then cooperatives, farmer producer companies. So in these producer collectives, how that resource mobilization is happening and how effective they are addressing the farmers' basic needs and demands. These are some of the areas in which we can take up the extension research. Again, here there are some good studies which are available in the public domain. So all the studies I have quoted are available, open source articles. We can easily access all the that links are also provided. Anyone interested, they can access these studies. I think this is within this allotted time. I have introduced some of the new topics, and I sincerely hope that it was useful to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I can wholeheartedly say that was an exhaustive list. And I saw a familiar, which I never knew the term, but you know, so given it is like a citizen science, the levels of participation. For this, the example I saw was when I was working in Haryana for the reporting of paddy burning. Like they used to take satellite data, but due to level of participation of normal people over there, directly they had a call center where the people were reporting also the incidents of paddy burning and all. The data got more, what we can say, exhaustive. Like more number of fires were reported, which was not able to be in through the satellite because of time issue and the orbit issue. So yeah, we have seen that it is working, but yeah, the thing is like extension needs to take it in a more elaborative way. So thank you, sir, for your session, and I'd like you ask you to be with us for the question and answer in the end of the session.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Anand.
Thank you, sir. So for the second half of our session now, I would like to introduce our speaker is Dr. Pankaj Kumar Sinha, sir, who has did his MSc and PhD in Agriculture Extension from Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, in the field of entrepreneurship development. Dr. Pankaj is a scientist at ICR, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, Jharkhand, Hazaribagh. Dr. Pankaj having 8 years of research and teaching experience in agriculture and extension services, and he has attended international national seminars, conferences, and is a life member in many professional bodies. He has significantly contributed in the field of agriculture extension, presented many guest lectures in the national and international conferences, has a field of interest in entrepreneurship development, participatory technology development, and convergence for improving effectiveness of livelihood improvement of the farmers. He has also received many prestigious awards such as National Environmental Science Academy, Young Scientist Award, Young Scientist Award from Indian Society of Extension Education, and from Society of Extension Education, Agra. He has published more than 18 research articles, reported in international national journals, co-authored and edited, written 6 books, other publications like book chapters, technical bulletins, training manuals, and more. And he has, apart from this, he has completed 3 externally funded projects associated with 4 presently, as well as 4 institute projects and associated with 6 now. With this brief introduction, I'd like to hand over the session to sir. Sir, you have to unmute yourself. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay. Slides here, you have to allow me the slides here. Yes. Share content.
So kindly just select share, and then you have to select the first screen, sir, extreme left.
Okay, share. Now, I think my slide is visible to all of you.
Yeah, you can go for the full screen, sir, and then we can start.
Yes. Very good evening to all of you and respected Sarunan sir. I think personally face to face, first time I am interacting with him, and I have heard about him. And I did 5 years of service in NEH, ICR Research Complex for NEH Barapani. And actually, I am a field scientist, field extension scientist. I want to see the effectiveness and delivery effectiveness of extension advisory and services. So my experiences, because my half work has been already been done by my previous speaker. So whatever the exhaustive list that has been done by him, the same applies to me also. But I want to share some of the field experiences where we at the state level where we are lacking and what we should think ahead for developing our effectiveness and efficiency of extension services. So state level extension research, state level research priorities and agriculture extensions. Why we are dealing each state, because each state is agriculture is a state subject and they are free to program and we are free to design their own state agriculture extension program as well as their own agricultural development program. So that is why we have, as per the Constitution of India, why we have allowed each state rather than a blanket project. Why we have allowed each state to design their program? Because there is a wide variation in agroclimatic situations, wide variation in regional languages, because we cannot say only in the one language. If we will develop an extension program, that will be useful for all. Local level, because market of agricultural commodities, most of the agricultural commodities whatever we are producing, that we are marketing at the local level itself. So the market is also market of agricultural commodities also influenced at the state level itself. Then there is a wide variation in food taste and preferences that also affect the production pattern, farming system, and cropping system. And but there is a lack of adequate and effective convergence mechanism among the pluralistic extension organizations, because the central government, they are planning separately, state government, they are planning separately, NGOs to attract the funds, they are planning separately. So that has to be come somewhere so that we can improve the delivery of extension services to the farmers. So now, earlier we had adopted only production oriented approach. Now we are shifting into the farmers oriented, farmers led extension or market led extension. In the earlier approach, we only targeted the transfer of technology. That was the only segment that was dealt at the state level extension organizations. But now they have to meet almost all the area like capacity building in not only the public extension officials, but we have to also create para extension professionals, or we have to strengthen the other local level, grassroots level organization. Then only we can reach them effectively. That is my another analysis. Then earlier we wanted to have only food sufficiency. Now we want to save, also improve the livelihood security, but also improve shifting them. We want to shift them from subsistence farming to the commercial farming. So the approach totally at the state level, whatever the we were following and now we have to follow, that will be totally different. Earlier, whatever the program, still, although in the notebook or in the report we are following the bottom up planning, but still in practice it is lacking somewhere. So earlier we follow top down, commodity driven and supply driven, but now we have to participatory, bottom up and demand driven. Then only we can effectively meet the farmers need in actual. There is a only in the earlier model we wanted to give the unidirectional flow of information, research, extension and farmers. But now we have to involve the pluralistic extension organization into a convergence model. If we have to utilize the capability of each stakeholders so that they can contribute maximum. I know public sectors are rich in their technology heritage, but private sector are rich in their service orientation, service commitment, and grassroots level NGOs, they are rich in their dedication to serve the farmers. So we have to harness all them, then only we can effectively reach the target. Earlier we have majority of the state agriculture extension system, they used to focus only at the public institutions only. Now we are thinking that we have to not only promote privatization, but we have to attract pluralistic extension organizations, NGO, private companies, government agencies, research organizations, state agriculture universities. We have to attract all. Earlier we followed only interpersonal or individual approach. Now, since globalization, technological advancement, we have to utilize all means, because day by day number of farmers or number of the clients we have, the extension professional has to reach is increasing, but the same time the government extension officials are decreasing. But I am admitting that parallelly the entry of private sectors as well as the NGOs, they are voluntarily doing or disseminating the agriculture extension advisory system to the farmers. So earlier our roles was very limited, that only delivery and feedback mechanism. But now we have to enforce the learning, we have to build their overall capacity and encouraging the farmers to do the experimentation. That shift accordingly we have to change, incorporate in the agriculture extension also. Some of the constraints we are facing at the state agricultural extension level, that is my sole personal experiences. Each state, they are having their staffing pattern, and they are not adequately recruiting as well as posting the staffs at different level, district level, state block level and panchayat level. Most of the states, they are having the adequate staffs at the state capital level, and that means state level, but at the district level hardly, up to district agriculture officers only they are adequately recruiting the staff, but not below that. So that is hampering the access of extension services by the farmers. Lack of synchronization in program planning, implementation and release of budget of both state and central government. There is a very clear-cut gap once we are, by the time the state agriculture extension functionaries, they are preparing their action plan, and they are the time they are sanctioning it, it is almost taking 1 to 1.5 years. Then rigorous bureaucratic procedures that are already in the extension, because agriculture extension is a totally state subject. That is the responsibility of a state government to deliver the extension services to the farmers. But that has rigorous interference of bureaucratic procedures that took, if you will apply for a program or if you apply for a financial assistance, it will took a year long also. By the time your participant can lose the motivation or lose the interest also. Then there is a red tapeism. There is a red tapeism because we want to promote our own relatives known. Then there is a political interference in the delivery of extension advisory services at the time of when a more important technology like mushroom cultivation, or where the large infrastructure assistance is given and promoted by many organization or government program, there is a much more political interference that does not accrue the whatever the benefit we want to get from these programs. Involvement of whatever the extensions worker are there, other than the unmandated activities in the throughout the year. They have to do surveys for Swachhta Abhiyan, they have to conduct the election, they have to also survey the schools, and we are expecting them at the end also to deliver the extension advisory services. So they are having very good, because they are already poorly staffed, and also apart from that, we are also giving them non-mandated activities. There is a lack of adequate and effective convergence mechanisms, and there is because everybody do not want to lose their position in their district level or in the block level, so they want to work independently. Whatever the Atma or KVK, they are in the report we are having that convergence mechanism is there, but in the field it is very difficult to witness that. So as per my experience, whatever I have worked, I have mobilized nearly more than 10 FPOs, and we are making them nearly 4 hours performing very well coming up in the Jharkhand. And I have also worked in Meghalaya. I have worked with cooperative organization of the farmers. There, I think that we have to take the extension. We have to devise the mechanism to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of delivery of extension advisory services. The extension advisory services not only include advisory, but we also need to deliver them input as well as capacity building. Then most of the times, whenever we are visiting to the farmers, they are thinking that where to market. So we have to, the agriculture extension professionals, we have to also look at because now see that e-commerce penetration is deeper in the rural areas also. So we have to research in the areas like how to improve the marketing efficiency and effectiveness of different market level. Then we have to also ask them or motivate them with the help of technological assistance and as well as the financial assistance by shifting from subsistence to commercial farming. We have to also take the research area in the field of improvement of input use efficiency. Input include as well as per drop more crop, per land, per unit of area more crop and productivity, water and fertilizer, all sorts of, with the help of improved agricultural technology like integrated farming system, precision farming, digital farming techniques. We have to take how to disseminate this technology at the bottom level. We have to also take research in these areas. Then mobilization of farmers for improved mechanization and marketing. We have to, now when you will go actually in the fields, whatever our extension strategies periodically focused was only male oriented, but now in a village, most of the male members are going out for the other job than the agriculture to the cities or nearby bigger industrial areas. There now we have to focus that how to reach the more gender sensitive agripreneurial options, so that the farmers, those who are left in the villages and those who are actually working in the fields, we have to work with them. Then participatory technology development and disseminations. Most of the times it is always blamed to agriculture extension that agriculture extension has failed to deliver the technology to the end users. But I will not agree, because it is also the credibility of the technology or performance of the technology that also depend upon the rate of adoption. So in this area also, if we will have involved the participatory technology development and dissemination, we can clearly see that which technology we can develop the technology as per their need and demand in the state level or in the district level. And if it is technology is already suitable to the needs of the farmers, definitely their dissemination rate can be faster, and more number of farmers can be benefited with this technology. Other areas, like as usual we used to see, I am covering the Indo-Gangetic plain, and where we want to broader research areas where we want to focus in this area is that strengthening of research extension and feedback mechanism. We have to improving the mechanism of research extension and farmer linkage, capacity building. We have, because if we are not adequately staffing the farmers, the government extension workers, then we have to teach them either through diploma, or we have to develop the para professional, or we have to give them vocational training, or also we can train the farmer so that he can also become an extension worker. That means farmer led extension worker we have to develop. We have to think about gender and extension, because whatever the technologies we are creating, that is only focusing on the man, that but the same feedback we have to also give based on the need of the farmer, that what type of technologies that can be taken in the field that have involve less drudgery. Then developing infrastructure, we have to develop the infrastructure for extension. Now many field work is being done, but there is no at the district level or at the state level, there is no extension lab where the demonstrations, where the mass media lab is there, so that we can develop our own videos in the regional language, so that can be disseminated or that can be used to disseminate the informations of the to the farmers. Then we have to develop the attract the public private partnership. We have to take the research areas, how to attract them, because private individuals, public, we are only mandated to do the work, that is why we are delivering the extension services. But private people, they want to see the profitability, and as per my experience, only the agriculture profession is having the ability to double your money within 6 months or a season of a crop. No other business that can double your money within 6 months or within 3 months, neither bank or none of the other business. But that agri business has to couple with the technological intervention and scientific production technique, not the subsistence farming or whatever the traditional farming model. Then we have to develop the capacity of extension professionals. Many times we are seeing that extension professionals, whatever they are taking the training in at the graduate level or BSc level, they are having the same knowledge. There is no upgradation, because they are thinking that there is no scope of improvement of my knowledge. Why? Because my job is same, I cannot get promotions. That type of motivational demotivational factors are there. Because of that, they are taking least interest in upgrading their mechanism. They are also not thinking that we are also not getting any non-practicing allowance. Now when if you will see the veterinarian or doctor, they are getting non-practicing allowance, but at the field level extension officer, they are also giving the consultancy services to the farmers. Sometimes commercial farmers, they are also not able to get their consultancy services. That also we have to see that if we will develop that capacity of the extension professionals, they can match, and we can allow them to go for non-practice. If they can practice on their own, if they have the capacity, they can earn their consultancy fee. Now we are seeing that there is an introduction of 4G, 5G. Now again, in sometimes 6G will come. Without that, in the least possible resources, whatever the resources that has been allotted to the agriculture extension, we have to reach more and more number of farmers. We have to increase our relevance also. For that purpose, we have to use mass media support and ICT. Now many YouTube channels, many Facebook YouTube videos, small sorts of videos that are able to disseminate the farmers, create them awareness, create their interest, and the farmers are coming to us. I want to grow a kesar in Jharkhand. Can it be possible or not? Because some of the farmers from the Gujarat, they have shown promoted the video that kesar can be grown in Gujarat also. So that type of advantages we have to utilize, and accordingly we have to do the research. What type of mechanism we should create at the state level or district level, so that with the least possible resources, more and more farmers can be benefited of improved agriculture technology. Then we have to take the research in market driven approach, not only that what is the knowledge level of paddy, knowledge level of other, what are all the significant agricultural sector in which potential incomes can be there, like mushroom processing, mushroom production, then dragon fruit farming, many new innovations are there. For that is having demand. So whatever our extension studies we are focusing that are mainly on the traditional crop. Then we have to also recognize that FPOs, farmer producer organization, are taking lead in disseminating the improved technology of the farmers. So we have to take the policy level intervention, how to strengthen them, because many a times only FPO are being registered, and mere because why they are registering FPOs, because they will get the matching grant. For that matching grant they are keeping in the bank only, that is for doing the business. So we have to adequately take the research to empower them, the FPOs or groups or association, how to do the business in a group. Many times if you will see FPOs, it is individuals and they have added many members, but it is run and managed by only 1 or 2 persons, and they are utilizing the benefit, and others are only for the sake of members. So that type of research also, how to improve their effectiveness, because they have been penetrated at the village level. Then we have to see farmers as the extension agent. Until unless we are going to have the confidence that farmers can also disseminate the information to other farmers, we cannot expect that the technology delivery, the rate of technology delivery will become faster. Then we have to attract more and more organizations based on their consult, and we have to also see there should be that adequate investment has to be there. What should be the in a district to feed a population, to feed the in population of a farmers, how much investment is required to effectively disseminate the agriculture extension services or advisory services to the farmer. So we have to take area in research in this also, investment capacity also. Otherwise it will be very difficult. We cannot extract oil from the sand. It is the clear cut fact, how much oil is there, that you have to, how much, if you want to get the mileage, you have to adequately invest that. Then government programs and schemes have to be aligned in need with the farmers at the local level. We are seeing that many top level or national level programs are being implemented at the village level with or without their relevance, but we have to modify that. And here the role of Atma and KVK, other organization, has to be broader. So this is my sole experience based, whatever I have learned, that in this area we need to work to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of extension organization.
Thank you, Pankaj sir. You highlighted all the important details from the perspective of a field functionary, which was very important, and like what are the conditions right now going on and everything. I would like now to invite Shriram sir also for the discussion. So before we start a discussion, Shriram sir, you are there?
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr.
So before we start a discussion, in the beginning of your slide, you mentioned the age-old research or the approaches that we have been doing already in the extension, that is like awareness, attitudes, perception, opinions, and all this. And then we saw a plethora of research areas which involves interdisciplinary econometric approaches, many other things like new citizen science and everything. How do we shift the perspective of research from the age-old to these new fields, which will also add to the policy making? Like directly a master's student's thesis or a paper published can affect a policy by reading. Somehow it reaches to the PMO office, or somehow it reaches to the Krishi Bhavan in Delhi, and a policy changes has happening. So how do we shift from the age-old perspective to this new type of researches? Your opinion on this, sir?
Yeah, it's a good question, Dr. Anand. In fact, I think for the PG and PhD scholars, definitely the role of guide may be a major factor in deciding the research topic. I think we can convince them, because when I was doing PhD, the important one, when I was delivering my seminar, one of the important question asked was, my study was on dairy value chains. So one of the important question was how this will be useful for the policymakers. That means after conducting the study, what will you do with the results? That was the question asked to me. So actually at that stage, that my guide, she advised me that actually rather than keeping the findings with in the library, college library, it should be communicated to the policymakers. So that effort should be extra effort, extra step should be made by the concerned extension scientist or PG or PhD scholars. So, and with regard to the shifting the area, already we can see that a number of, I think, daily on a daily basis, we are getting a lot of scales to rank. Even though we don't have expertise in that area, we are getting. Actually, we can see that they are sending the group mails to many experts, many extension scientists, without even considering their expertise. So that's not at all a recommended practice. So if you really want to contribute, because the extension science is growing and the sector is also growing, agricultural sector is also growing, and the demand, research demanded by the extension fraternity is entirely different. It's not the same which we had before the last 10 years. So this thing we have to realize, and looking at the studies, we can see that what are the changes they are making. So actually these findings, if we are properly doing, that will be definitely helping the policymakers, that they can make informed decisions. Suppose if you are doing a particular research with regard to a particular FPO, so the effectiveness of FPO or how the service delivery of FPO is helping the farming community, definitely that will improve their service delivery. That's not a wastage of time or resources. Definitely that findings will be useful both for the farming community who are the members of the FPO, as well as the management of the FPO to improve the service delivery. I think in this way we can. It will be a gradual shift. It won't be a sudden shift, but that can happen.
Pankaj sir, your opinion on the same question?
See, many times it is always depending upon the guide, the same agree. But nowadays, the relevance of agriculture extension studies is declining. We are having the interview schedule. If most of us we are agreeing that interview schedule of 18 pages, 15 pages, and we are measuring the only qualitative data with the statement, Likert scale statement. So in that case, our relevance, because most of the time the researchers are not able to get the complete data of that interview schedule. So we have to cultivate the change at the thesis level, planning level, at the guide only, and we have to take the distinct areas in which action research, such as till now I have not seen any action research in agriculture extension, although at the PhD level, that whether the only delivery of extension services into certain pocket areas with the help of different extension organization, what is the role of FPO when only FPOs are working, or somewhere when FPOs and other organizations are working in a convergence. So what is the extent of impact? What is the extent of, there is lack of action research orientation in the our field. That is why we are not able to get the adequate policy guidelines. In almost all other fields, we are seeing that they are having action research, but in our case only ex post factor study, evaluation or impact study, and that also on a recall method. It is very difficult to validate the data, and we are also showing that our instrument is reliable and valid for more than 60 or 70%. Although I know, because our when you are working on the human being, or that is a farmer that is having their own intelligence, the reliability and validity cannot be more than 50%. We can generalize it, but cannot be more than 50%. So that type of, we have to change. We have to change the mindset that if more number of pages of interview schedule will be there, our research will be more effective. It will not be that.
Okay. Yeah. There will be a follow-up question, sir, to this, what you discussed earlier. Usually we see that extension researchers has like two aspects, the social aspect and the results, what we impact. We say the social impact and the economic impact. We are very good in reporting the social impact, like the qualitative data and all, but we lack on reporting the economic impact. Why do you think there is a lag in this? Why extension professionals are not reporting the economic impact of a particular study or a particular intervention or particular approach? What is the lackness over here? Sriram sir.
Okay. Dr. Anand, I think these are the areas in which, these are the areas where collaborative research is required, I think. So social science doesn't mean that it's only extension. So if you are doing research in a in a collaborative way, we can always collaborate with our fellow professionals who have expertise in sociology or economics, so that the study results will be more comprehensive. I think rather than trying to, of course, there are studies are there in extension, which methodologies are there in which we can quantify or which we can have different dimensions rather than the social dimension. But if you are doing it in a collaborative way, I think that will be more meaningful. That's my perspective.
Okay. Pankaj sir, your opinion on this?
Yes, actually, in my opinion, it is very difficult to isolate the effect of only one particular variable at the times. That is why when we are conducting a research or when we are collecting the ex post facto data, it will be very difficult to say that only with the help of mass media that change had happened. So that is why the many extension professionals are there reluctant to quantify their terms, how much contribution I have made with the help of this intervention. That is the major focus. We cannot, many times even statisticians, they used to not say that only, you cannot say that only this has contributed.
Sir, Sriram sir, there's a question in the chat box related to citizen science. Can you explain about citizen science in detail and how this science is used in the agriculture extension research area with some example?
Yeah. So I think citizen science is a less explored area, though it is more relevant in the case of extension, because it's a kind of a participatory research kind of thing. So we are well familiar with the participatory technology development. So
Yes, sir.
like in the citizen science, the concept is crowdsourcing the science. So I have given the example of bird watching. So when the scientists are trying to identify new species, that will be done in a more collaborative way. Likewise, even in my slide, I have given an example, an article reference to the citizen science concept. So in that, they are trying to have the citizen science concept in sensitizing the citizens with regard to air pollution. So in that is an example. So likewise, there are many issues in agriculture that has to be solved. Maybe we can take the case of pesticide overuse of pesticides. That is an important issue. So how can we ensure the participation of citizens so that we can the application of fertilizers are more done in a scientific way, or maybe promoting a technology. So suppose some technologies are there which are already in the existence since many years, but that is not still being adopted in a better way. So we can have a participatory means citizens participation with regard to what are the blocks or what are the stumbling blocks for the dissemination of the technology. So even with regard to the participation of citizen science projects, actually, if you are looking at the literature, there are 3 levels of participation are mentioned. One is contributive. So that means only the participants or the fellow citizens who are participating in the project are only helping in the data collection stage. Then another is collaborative. So collaborative means they are not only collecting the data, but analyzing the data also becomes a participatory activity. It means the citizens are actively engaged in the data analysis part also. Then the third is co-creative. So that means from the stage of project design till the end of the analysis and even to the dissemination of results, the citizens are actively engaged. So this is a way in which we can ensure the participation of citizens. Means the fellow stakeholders who are in, we cannot say that only farmers, there are other stakeholders are also there in agriculture. So these are some of the examples I can give. And even the article can be referred. I have given in the reference list.
Yeah. So the participants, the particular PPT by both the speakers will be, and for the first 2 days also will all be shared, as well as the recording of the sessions of each day will be shared by you. We have no more question in the chat box, but if anyone wants to ask a question, please go ahead. Okay, I think, sir, this is it for the session today. There are people are like, I think the research priorities are clear. But before we end, sir, I'll just like one single lines from both of you, that how should we define the state level research priorities, especially state level, so that will cultivate change in future and change the direction of agriculture extension. Just line to conclude both of you, sir. Sriram, sir.
Pardon, Anand, I couldn't follow you. Can you please repeat the
So the
question?
question was your concluding remarks. How should we define the state level priorities in agriculture extension that will cultivate change and have a change in the direction of agriculture extension research also?
Yeah, definitely. It means the state level agricultural extension is at the micro level where we are doing the extension research. So first, I think when we are doing a research at the state level, definitely there should be we have to review or we have to see what are the already taken up research activities and areas. And definitely there should be a sincere effort to avoid the already researched areas, and there should be a sincere effort to gradually shift to the new areas where extension priorities are more or extension research is more demanded. So that change will be gradual, but I think with our sincere efforts that can make happen. And also with regard to PG and PhD scholars, as my fellow speaker also joined, agreed, we can convince our guides that these are some of the important areas for the PG and PhD scholars I am telling about. So these are some of the important areas. Here, if you are doing, that will have a policy implication rather than simply concluding a research, that will have a policy implication. So that also there is a possibility of getting good research papers, because whenever we are doing a research for a PG and PhD scholars, publication is always very important. So if you are if you are trying a new area, definitely the advantages are different. So like this, the shift will be gradual. I think it can happen.
Pankaj sir, your concluding remarks.
First of all, I want to conclude that rather than we have to think that only the mere degree for doing the MSc and PhD research, that approach we have to leave it, and we have to say, we have to adopt that no, we want to experiment something. That means action based participatory research. Without that, without the actual involvement of the farmers, what they need, how they need, why they need, if that will not be solved, then the extension, that change cannot be cultivated at the state agriculture extension level. Whatever the means you will do, we are doing the same way, that only 120 respondent, that will not be sufficient. We should have only 1 page or 2 page questionnaire, but we should have large number of data rather than only collecting the socioeconomic or independent variable, and there is mere association. Many of the thesis, many of the research paper I have already seen that they have collected the independent variable, but there was no association found. Why there was a specific categorization? Why they are simply showing that these many percentage of youth, these many percentage of adult, these many percentage of old, or education is like that, income is like. But is there any significance? How much percentage of the youth they have been using the ICT or mass media? What was the percentage, and based on that, what was the impact? We have to go beyond that. So that type of change we have to cultivate, and we should fund it. क्या होता है कि many times what is happening when we are planning our research, they will be telling that fund is not adequate, you have to shorten it out. So that type of, without fund, without accurate data, it will be very difficult to get the policy level research intervention.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to thank both of the speakers for beautifully concluding the.
Sir, academic research mainly only focusing on study purpose, not the practical purpose. That is the difference in extension now. A farmers need a practical solution, but the academicians are doing for the thesis and PhD submission like that. So
Sudesh, that's what both the speakers discussed, that the shift will be gradual, but it will be there.
Research, but it does no practical applications in a farmer's field. So both are needed.
Constraints are
that's what both discussed, that the shift will be gradual, but we will be shifting towards more action-based research as defined by Dr. Pankaj and as defined by Dr. Sriram also, that more research, the shift will be gradual, but it will be there. The only thing remains is the students convincing their advisors and the change taking place from that level. So thank you both the speakers for beautifully concluding the webinar or the program today. The day 3 concludes on a very high note that yes, there will be a change. It will be gradual, but definitely it will take place one day. Dear participants, I have shared the evaluation feedback form in the chat box. Kindly go through it and fill your evaluation feedback for the 3 days for each session, which is also very important for the giving us you for the certificates. This is one of the programs that Manage Center for Agri Extension Innovation Reforms and Agripreneurship and Manage has concluded. We have such many programs. I will kindly request all the participants to kindly keep visiting Manage website, Manage official social media platforms on Facebook, on LinkedIn and Twitter. We are constantly uploading and trying to bring such kind of programs where there is a direct benefit to our PG, PhD students, agriculture extension professionals, and also industry experts. I hope these 3 days would have churned out many important points which can be taken up in the future by the students, by the advisors, by the agriculture extension professionals, and everyone. So, sir, lastly, I'd like to conclude that on behalf of National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, Hyderabad, on behalf of our director, Dr. Sarvan Raj, Director Agriculture Extension Manage, and on behalf of all our participants, we'd like to thank you both for giving your important time and showing your effort in giving us the important research, state level research priorities, which will cultivate change in the future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj and Dr. Sriram. Thank you for joining with us, and it was nice
Thank you,
to
sir.
listen
Thank
to
you.
both
Thank
of
you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you,
Keep
sir.
in touch.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, everyone. We will be seeing you again in the next webinar. Thank you, sir.
Okay, definitely, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shram, sir.
Thank you, Anand.